Hey guys, Harv here, and welcome back to the Kerbal space program and to our BOP adventure, or misadventure, depending on your chosen definition of the word. I think the abort system works. I was just testing that then, and this is the name of the video, testing. Testing, testing, testing. If you're not prepared to test, then you really shouldn't be playing this game. It is in fact a rocket science simulator of sorts, and as such you should be thoroughly testing your inventions. There we go, the abort system definitely works. Jebediah Kerbin not under any risk of blowing up anytime soon. But he will be, because in the testing session, you may have heard what I said about testing and looked at the time of the video and thought, wow, it's a bit long just to be flying around Kerbin, blowing things up. No, because by testing this, I actually mean we're going to do a full mission. We're going to go to Minmus. This is the level of preparation I decided upon. No, that's a lie. I didn't decide to go to Minmus. I went to Minmus because it was convenient. See, we're looking here at BOP, and I'm just thinking about how equipped is my rocket to actually go to BOP. And there's Paul. We can say hello to Paul. Oh, don't like Paul. He looks at me weirdly across the classroom. But yes, it was actually completely by accident. I don't remember the reason why. I guess I'll find out by watching this pre-recording. Let's go back to our rover, and can we launch it? Yeah, come on, Harvey. What are you waiting for? Get this thing on the go. Jool is not in the correct position for a launch window, so we might as well just launch, get into orbit, and wait for it, I suppose. In 3, 2, 1. Clear of the tower. There we go, and that sound is incredibly loud in my computer. I'm going to turn that down. I was worried in the first episode of this that I was actually... the sound was actually a bit too loud for the music. I decided against turning it down, just because it would have actually taken a bit of hassle, but I will do for this. Those engines, they do not sound as funny as the music did when it was sped up. But yeah, our standard asparagus staging and all that, going completely fine. It's actually working a lot better than I expected. It does admittedly tilt the wrong way a little bit, but that's no major concern, to be honest. Yeah, the combination of a rather small interplanetary stage, 2 nuclear engines and not all that much fuel, as well as a landing stage and a rover, is surprisingly light. So we can carry on our gravity turn. We've just passed 40 kilometers. Fuel is looking good. My ships do seem to get better and more fuel efficient as the time goes on. We are going to get a 120 meter apoapsis or so, and bam, explosions, but luckily we're fine. Yeah, testing. This is testing, making sure how robust our system actually is. Oh, listen to that. I think the music is back. It's a shame you probably won't be able to hear it. It's rather quiet, I imagine. Oh, but I can enjoy it, certainly. Let's time warp up to our apoapsis, where our current aim, my current goal, is just to get into a circular orbit, and we'll see what I want to do from there. Whether I want to wait to go to Jool, whether I just land it and test that, or whether I go to Minmus or the moon. I was actually thinking of going to the moon, admittedly, but Minmus is more like BOP in that its gravity is a lot weaker than the moon's. Oh, and look at that. Yeah, my apoapsis is terrible. And the fact that I did too much burning just then made me think, well, this isn't exactly circular, so I shouldn't really go into planetary. It'd be a waste of time because it's not perfect. So I looked around and saw the Minmus is actually in the correct position to go to right now. Keep burning, and just burn, 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 and there we go. We have almost got an encounter. Just a little bit of an adjustment, and we'll surely be able to get one. Turn our craft around and just point in a random direction and burn, and there we go. We got our encounter. Yeah, utterly by chance. But the best things always do happen by accident. And you can see the fuel in this stage is getting pretty low, but I don't really like the idea of leaving it in space. I would usually just detach it because it's more... I mean, it's so big and slow, it's more hassle than it's really worth to actually carry on using it. But no, I will carry on using it, because despite being a mainsail, which has terrible terrible... Oh, I gotta remember this because I was annoyed that I couldn't remember what it was called. It's ISP, which stands for Specific Impulse, that's it. It has a terrible specific impulse, which means its efficiency is rather low. And yet, in spite of that, it can actually perform pretty good manoeuvres on quite low fuel. So there we go, burning now. I'm trying to lower my periapsis through the ground, sending us on a crash course into Minmus, so that the empty mainsail fuel tanks won't actually be left in orbit and we can safely dispose of them. I say safely, I mean crashing and safe don't really have positive connotations when used together, but no matter. There we go, we can detach that now, send it on its way to hell and damnation. No, it'll drill a hole for us down into the surface of Minmus, surely. And we can come back in a rover. Oh, here we have a rover. Why not come back in this? Huh? Too bad I didn't think of that. But yes, what am I doing now? Well, despite what you know about me and crashing, which mostly isn't much. I generally post successful missions on the YouTube channel, but yeah, despite what you might assume, I do not want to crash, so I'm going to change that periapsis, put it about 20 kilometers, and get into a 20-kilometer circular orbit using our friendly nodes here. So despite the fact it's just Minmus, and getting back from Minmus to Kerbin is probably one of the easiest orbital maneuvers that you'll ever do, in spite of that, I'm going to play out the entire mission. Because this is the testing episode and I want to see if there's anything that's wrong in the system. There we are, warping down, getting very close to our periapsis, there we go. Hovering over our blue node, and we are burning retrograde. Slowing down, performing our orbital insertion with the 2 nuclear engines that are on our Inter-Planetary stage. Right. We are trapped within the sphere of influence, and we shall bring it down and down and down to about there-ish. There? Maybe? Yeah, that's fine. It's not an equatorial orbit, but then again, on BOP, I doubt it's going to be, so there's no matter. We don't really need that. Decouple that Sepatron. No, not Sepatron. Decouple that decoupler. Huh. Surprising. Yes, get rid of that. End its flight. And we can now carry on with our science facility, our lander, our rover, and our, well, rendezvous stage, I suppose. And we'll bring it round. Having got far enough away, about 200 or so meters away, we can safely fire up the engines and burn retrograde to drop out of orbit. There we go. Drop out of orbit and land on an ice lake. Ice lakes, rovers and ice lakes. What a good combination. We're going to have some fun here. So there we go, we shall turn this round, point retrograde and burn. The LV99 is such a good engine, it really is. I mean, you can shift quite a large amount of delta V, and yet the efficiency is still relatively high for a chemical rocket. Bringing it down, I want it under 100 meters per second, or so, there we go. We can open up those communicatrons, and you can see we start spinning really weirdly. It's actually because the communicatron and the landing engines are clipping each other and causing oscillations and jostling and this is my space and no, this is your space, and yeah, stuff like that. That's the technical term for it, I suppose. Bringing it in, final thing, coming up to contact light very soon, 10 meters per second, just under 100 meters. And we are very nearly down on the surface. Just got to touch this down oh so gently, and there we go. There we go. Very nice indeed. And yeah, that's it. There we go. As our command module sails away, we'll let it do 1 orbit or maybe 2 before we go back up to join it. And what I want to do is initiate the lander's engine, or actually the rendezvous engine, deactivate the lander engine, and I can separate and just float gently to the side, open up the gears, the gear bay, our wheels, damn it, I don't need to be technical with that, And yes, we can actually deactivate those RCS ports. I should have put them in an action group. I actually forgot to for the proper mission as well. I don't think I changed anything actually. Everything turns out pretty good, it turns out. Yes, turns out it turns out. Well done, brain. But yeah, this seems to be pretty good, it turns out. How are we going to properly test this? Because, come on, we've recreated the mission, but stress testing, we haven't done anything yet. How about top speed? That's a good test. What's the top speed of it? I guess we shall find out. 4 times acceleration, burning that RCS fuel, monopropellant, as we sail towards this hill. Very ominous hill, just sitting there, the only thing visible that isn't flat at the current time. I think it looks like a rather good ramp, don't you? Oh, excuse me. Throat's a bit dry. I should get a drink before doing episode 3. That's it, that's the thing. Remember, Harvey, remember to get a drink. There we go, we'll come out to 4 times acceleration just to witness the full power of RCS thrusters. Despite the fact they haven't, they are no longer overpowered, I think they are pretty well balanced. Whoa! Bouncing, man. I don't think RCS is overpowered anymore, but still, it's pretty damn efficient. Definitely good in most circumstances. Yeah, you see this? You see what we're doing right now? Remember this, because while I was on Minmus, flying around all daily and gallantly, I was like, yeah, we're spinning crazily, it's so much fun. And then a few hours later on Bop, it wasn't so much fun. So remember that. Remember what that looks like, and you shall be seeing much more of it. Now can we land this? Bounce! Yes! Well, no, we're bouncing, but still. We can't. Yeah, it's hard to land, and this is hilarious, isn't it? Yeah. Oh well, what do we have to do to land this? Well, if we decrease our vertical speed, we can turn on the engine, there we go. Maybe that'll help slightly. Yeah, it seems to be working pretty well. There we go! Now slowing down, that's a different matter. But then again, who says we want to slow down, really? I was thinking actually of going to the Neil Armstrong Memorial. Then I realised how far away that was, and thought, nah, we might as well not. So instead I'll just try and get to the end of this ice lake and then see about getting back to the lander. There we go, just doing something with my mouse. What is that? Oh yes, I remember. I was looking up, I've downloaded all the anomaly things. I've downloaded the image maps of all the anomalies. So, Easter egg hunting, despite being quite painful in this series of 5 videos, we may be doing some more of it. Yes, seeing as the moon base... Oh wait, the Neil Armstrong Memorial isn't even on Minmus, is it? Is it? No. What was I going to go for then? There's something on Minmus. Is it a flying saucer, maybe? I'm not sure. Oh well, never get the chance, because we are in fact wobbling quite a lot. Certainly not a good thing, although Jebediah is enjoying himself immensely. But there we go. Is that the killing? Yeah, that's the last nail in the coffin. Surely Jebediah will die now. I mean, come on, he's only a mortal Kerbal. No, Jebediah is in fact Super Kerbal. How could you not know this? And he will survive anything. He'll even play around trying to catch up with the broken pieces of his rover before they explode, and he decides not to. So there we go, just burning retrograde. We'll slow ourselves down and we'll come to a very nice stop on the surface. Will we bother to land, or are we just going to go straight back? No, we'll land. I can land on the engine. This is skills acquired in the old versions. I say I can. I mean, you know, I can almost, but I can. You know, I'm a veteran and all that. Yeah. Way to go, me. Let's return to the lander. We are at the stage where we need to do our rendezvous back with our command module, our Inter-Planetary stage. But in order to do that, we need to actually be along its orbit, so our inclination can be the same when we start launching off. And we've travelled a considerable distance north, so we can't do it straight from here. We might as well burn back to the lander, which I know is directly underneath its orbit, and take off from there. I like this. This is like a long range Rendezvous. Very easy, very simple, very something I should have done on Bop. Then again, I didn't actually know where the Kraken was, so yeah, it wasn't really viable. But coming in 7 kilometers or so, coming back to our lander, returning like a dog, come crawling back. You come crawling back. Just burning retrograde steadily. Utter control. Look at that, the finesse as HOCgaming brings it down just perfect within, what was it, within 30 meters or so of the lander. I have to admit, I was impressed with that. yeah, I was. We bring this down gently, this time not tipping over so much. A bit of wobbling, nothing to worry about. And I guess we turn our eyes to the skies as we try and find out where our Inter-Planetary stage is. It's on the opposite side, so we do some time warping and we bring it round. There we go. I did forget the Minmus's gravity is so low that rendezvousing actually only takes a few seconds, so I overcompensated and burned a little too early. You can see that as we get this thing up to orbital altitude, I think I'm trying to correct inclination, which is a bit pointless, but there we go, orbital altitude, you can see the target is actually quite a way behind us. No matter, I can just actually carry on burning, and because the gravity is so low, I don't have to worry about mismatch orbits. I can be fixed with one burn as we get our closest point of separation, as we cross over that point. There we go, goodbye Minmus. Thank you for destroying several billion pounds worth of rover. No doubt. Although this is the Kerbal space program, it's probably a few tin cans stuffed with spaghetti was the highest form of technology on that rover. Burning retrograde to our relative velocity vector with the command module Inter-Planetary stage, and there we go, pretty much bang on. Just have to burn to get our prograde marker over the pink marker, and we should sail towards it. Only a few hundred meters away, and we can just warp ourselves in. There we go. Just cancel out our relative velocity. Or so, doesn't really have to be accurate, I suppose. Switch to this. This is why I put a probe on it. This is why you put probes on all your objects that you're intending to come back to. So you can, you know, turn it, or orient it to face north, so you make docking a bit of an easier job. Right, put this into chase camera mode so that I can have a bit of an easier job on my end. Point it 180 degrees because we're docking nose to nose with this. And we can just use our translation things. Docking those modules, that module onto the IYSS, and what was it? Docking something else with that without using translation. Oh, it makes me so happy that we actually have translation. You know, I didn't use to use RCS all that much because I didn't need it, but for docking, it is absolutely essential if you're going to have a fun time. Bringing it up. Very nearly finished. There we are, just forwards a little more and down and adjusting in all sorts of places, and we bring it in to get our docking. There we go, wonderful. We can actually shut down that engine and we can transfer any remaining fuel back into it, seeing as we are going to be detaching and landing with the rendezvous stage. And as I said earlier, getting back to Kerbin is a piece of piss, really. No other way to put it, I'm sorry. Right, what do we want to do? We want to first adjust our inclination so that we have a bit of an easier time choosing where we want to land. Of course, I never actually choose where I want to land, I just go for it, but you know, in theory, I could choose where I wanted to land if I so desired. Pointing prograde, we're now on the opposite side of Minmus to Kerbin, which means we are going to slow down our orbital speed and lower our periapsis to bring it within the atmosphere so that we can successfully land safely. Luckily, we will be landing in daylight. Not quite on the home continent, but in daylight certainly. There we go, leaving Minmus' sphere of influence, and we are going pretty fast, 2,000, 3,000 meters per second, Nah, that's nothing. That's nothing on interplanetary speeds, mate. Interplanetary speeds are ludicrous. As we detach this, and we leave that, I mean, we are inside the atmosphere, or we will be inside the atmosphere very soon, so we can be sure that that interplanetary stage will destroy itself by slowing down in the atmosphere. Or will it? Because I seem to remember that parts, unless you are directly looking at them, don't undergo atmospheric drag. Yeah, Harvey, that's a thing. So we will actually end up seeing that in a later episode. Nice memoir it will be. Now I'm trying to land on land, and in trying so hard to land on this coast, I actually end up landing over water. I was probably going fast enough to actually be able to land on one of those islands if I was clever enough to do so, but nah. Water landing, whilst being a safer alternative in real life, it's nicht sehr safe in the Kerbal space program. Certainly landing on land is a much safer alternative. You saw what Jeb did earlier in the testing section. No, wait, this is testing, yeah. What? No, in the assembly one. There we go, in the assembly one, that's the one where he landed, and yeah, memories. But yes, that's pretty much it. We have done a successful mission to Minmus and back using a rover, and now it is time to head off to Bop, which is all well and good. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you liked the video, please do like the video. Thanks again for watching, and I shall see you all next time.